Welcome to Conversations. Terrorism is back in Jammu and Kashmir. To be precise, in Jammu. Terrorist violence, which seemed to have abated during the last 5 years, is again rearing its head in the Jammu region. The attack geography has changed, so have the tactics of the terrorist. A series of terrorist attacks and encounters in the Jammu region in the last few weeks have led to fears that the militancy, which has been in the wane, has come back stronger to target our security forces operating in the region. It all began on 9th of June 2024, just as Narendra Modi government was being sworn in, when insurgents attacked a bus carrying pilgrims at Riyasi, killing 10 and injuring 33. 2 days later, 6 soldiers were wounded in twin attacks in Doda and Kathua. On 7th of July, 1 army personnel was injured when terrorists attacked a security post in the Rajouri Poonch area. Another attack followed on 8th of July when heavily armed terrorists killed 5 soldiers, including a junior commissioned officer, and injured 6 others in Kathua districts. Of course, we should say they were martyred. The soldiers were martyred, not killed is the right word. My apologies. Last week, in the Doda district, 4 army soldiers and an officer of the Jammu and Kashmir police were martyred in an encounter. The Jaish-e-Mohammed linked shadow groups in Kashmir, called Kashmir Tigers, and the People's Anti-Fascist Front have claimed responsibility for these attacks. Of course, they sit right out of Pakistan. These attacks south of the Pir Panjal range assume significance since 2019. That security grid has largely been successfully combating terrorist violence in the Kashmir Valley, and today we see hardly any violence in the valley. The situation therefore raises critical question. How do these terrorists, presumed to be from Pakistan, actually are from Pakistan, manage to launch such lethal attacks and then evade capture in these huge challenging landscapes? Do they have a local support system in place? Or are they using coercion, including intimidating the locals at gunpoint and luring them with money to gain support of the villagers, most of them impoverished villages? Local support is crucial for these Pakistani terrorists who actually lack familiarity with the lay of the land. It's common sense that foreign terrorists unfamiliar with the topography and the security layout cannot operate effectively without local guidance. They can't even move out of the hideouts without knowing what lays ahead. But they're stuck at specific places of their choice, as we saw in the recent attacks, which is not possible without local support and guidance. According to security sources, more than 60 foreign terrorists trained in jungle warfare are active in small groups within the Jammu region. These group of terrorists who squeezed in from Pakistan are equipped with advanced technology, including satellite phones and thermal imagery, and are using high-end American weapons, that is M4 American carbines. Where did they get it? Your guess is as good as mine. Pakistani army. Their capacity, the capacity of the terrorists to coordinate and surprise attack, poses a significant challenge for the security forces. And this is an evidence by the recent ambushes carried out on them and the subsequent escapes by these terrorists using dense forest and darkness to their advantage. The July 8 ambush on the military patrol demonstrated that the terrorist ability to strike at specific targets with precision, indicating very strong local knowledge of the area and the terrain. The situation therefore raises some critical questions. Of course, the foreign terrorists have support, but how are they getting it? Are they using gunpoint or financial incentives to get the villagers to dance to their tunes? The recent arrest of 2 locals in Jammu area added weight to the suspicions of local support and the resurgence of terrorist activities in the Jammu zone, raising questions about the region's security dynamics and the broader, of course, socio-political underpinning, especially with the September 30th deadline for the local elections, that is the assembly elections. Overgrown workers, as they are said in many cases, are involved in these terror attacks. They hail from small, sleepy hamlets deep in the Pir Panjal range and that runs through Jammu to the south in the Kashmir Valley to the north. Residents live long distances apart. Cell phone and internet services basically doesn't exist. And these areas, which fall under the Machedi forest belt, is a remote and rugged landscape dotted with deep gorges, thick foliage, mountain caves, all providing ample cover, perfect cover for the terrorist, who actually operate in small groups. In this treacherous terrain, even our own security forces have struggled to neutralize this threat of terrorists effectively, despite extensive seek and kill operations involving drones, helicopters, and even military dogs. The locals in many cases are alleged to have provided food, shelter, and Wi-Fi access to these terrorists before the 15th July attack in the Desa forest of Doda district, which led 4 of our soldiers martyred. These foreign terrorists must be luring the locals with lots of money to work for them, and they are of course known as overground workers. They offer them a sense of comfort and safety in exchange for local support and intelligence. The timing of the attacks, often occurring at isolated areas and at night, further suggests that dependence on local support is very specific. Because without using GPS or other navigational aids to avoid detection, these terrorists need locals to guide them. The recent terrorist strikes, including the Bhangri shootout and the Chattargala mountain pass attack, highlighted the dependency of the terrorists on these local overground workers. In 2023, if you recollect, security agencies in Jammu Kashmir had arrested almost 291 people associated with terrorists. They say it's close to 300. Even the Jammu Kashmir police say that they have dismantled 89 terrorist modules in support with the army, with 78 in Jammu and in Kashmir and 11 in Jammu. That is, Jammu and Kashmir put together had 89 dismantled terrorist modules. Despite all these, the summer has led to concerns about the effectiveness of the current security measures. Authorities in Jammu Kashmir, of course, warn people against aiding terrorists, urging the locals to report any suspicious movement. The locals, of course, will definitely deny any involvement with the terrorist. And of course, as we know, the Gujars and the Bakarwals were the big backbone for the Indian army to get intelligence, but that is not working nowadays. And there's a lot of reasons for that. They lost a few of the peoples at the hands of the army, and of course they did not get the scheduled tribe, which was not given to them at all, and that has actually led to a lot, because that is given to the Pahadis. The escalation of terrorism related and the concerns of locals in the upper reaches are demanding the strengthening of the village defense groups, as we know they are called the VDGs, to tackle these threats. In places like villages in Doda, for example, the VDGs are very active in the security forces and the counter-offensive. And we saw this happening in Jammu and Kashmir at the same time. But in Kashmir, it worked extremely well. In Jammu, it doesn't seem to be working well. Intelligence gathering is a key to all this, because you need to have intelligence, human intelligence on the ground, of course, technical intelligence too. However, there are recent concerns that these intelligence failures are costing us heavy. As I told you before, there is the human element in this, the Gujar Bakarwal community. Remember, they helped us during the Kargil war. They were the first to tell the Indian army what happened up there. But the granting of the scheduled tribe to the Pahadis, as I told you, and the deaths of 3 of their community members at the hands of the army last winter have caused a sense of betrayal among the Bakarwals. Nevertheless, senior members from these 2 communities reaffirmed that they are loyal to the Indian government. The community say they always supported the army, but they need support from the army too. And this is a crucial question. How do you do it? Gaining confidence, at the same time ensuring the security of our armed forces. Beyond reservations and beyond dying in custody deaths, there are a lot more things. The attacks actually seem to be happening at the Supreme Court deadline of September 30th coming up. And that is a big problem, because we saw in the recent elections, the Lok Sabha elections, 58% voting happening there. And that is a huge surge from something like 4% which used to happen earlier. This has worried Pakistan big time. And they say these attacks are designed to project a sense of dominance by the terrorist, despite the enhanced security all around. Of course, all this put together raises one important question. What plans do the Indian army have now? They are said to have brought in more than 60 to 70 to even 100 to 200 specially trained paratroopers. They are supposed to be in that area to tackle them, because they know the terrorists. They know how to fight that kind of war. They've been trained in that. And surely the Indian security forces over the next few weeks will gain control till the winter sets in, when the terrorists will sneak back into Pakistan. But these 60 odd terrorists who are there in the Jammu region will have to be culled, and culled out brutally. There's no getting away from that. Because for us, Jammu and Kashmir has to stay peaceful, and that's extremely important. Thank you for watching. Jai Hind.